about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com.
The time is 10 a.m.
And a good morning and happy tax day. Thank you for tuning into the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Dory and we invite you to listen to our broadcasts both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel Monday to Friday between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. And additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. And we'll kick things off this morning from the Springfield Business Journal. Governor's office lays out next steps for $30 million in restricted funding. And we see a picture of the where the new convention center had been planned. See a shot of the vacant lot, which is right next door to the Springfield Expo Center. This is an article written by Jeff Pickle. Governor Mike Kehoe recently said $30 million in restricted state funding from last fiscal year that had been proposed for a Springfield Convention and Events Center is now in the hands of Missouri lawmakers. Gabby Picard, communications director for Kehoe's office, said the $30 million in restricted funding is earmarked for the Springfield Convention Center project and that it's slated to stay in restriction for the remainder of the current fiscal year, which ends June 30th. The Missouri Senate can take it out if they choose to do so and appropriate it for something else, Picard said via email. If they do not, the governor has the opportunity to veto the funding. Voters on April 7th, you'll remember, rejected a 3% lodging tax on hotels, motels, and short-term rentals that supporters said would be mostly paid by out-of-town visitors. Revenue from the tax was to help fund the estimated $175 million convention center project. City leaders have said they do not plan to try again. It was the second lodging tax measure in 5 months to be voted down. Springfield Business Journal sought comment from after Kehoe spoke to KY3. In an April 9th article published by KY3, Kehoe said, quote, "We're in a very tough budget year." Kehoe told KY3 that without a local match, Senate leadership and appropriators may believe money is no longer needed, and they're likely to take that into consideration as they look at other needs in the state. The will of the people has spoken twice now, so we'll let our appropriators, as we move the budget through the process, figure out just what the next best steps are, Kehoe told KY3. And another story, also from the Springfield Business Journal. A Springfield bookstore, this is from the Springfield Daily Citizen, In business news, a Springfield bookstore with boozy ambitions has opened on historic Commercial Street. One More Page is located at 306 East Commercial Street. They held a soft opening April 7th and will hold a ribbon-cutting ceremony with the Springfield Area Chamber of Commerce today. And what follows is a picture of a very happy One More Page owner Lorelei Carroll standing in front of the custom logo for her bookstore. This picture was taken April 10th. Very cute with a black and white dog holding open a book and a big tongue out and big smile, cartoon type logo. Very cute. Springfield's newest bookstore officially opened on historic Commercial Street last week, and the owner plans to expand the business with a liquor license soon. One More Page, located at 306 East Commercial Street, held a soft opening April 7th and will hold a ribbon-cutting ceremony with the Springfield Area Chamber of Commerce today, April 15th. Owner Lorelei Carroll said historic C Street was her ideal place to put the store. Quote, "Commercial Street to me is a place that I've seen evolve over the last 20 years to such a vibrant community," Carroll said, "and I thought if Springfield needs another bookstore, this is where they need one." What follows is a byline saying assortment of new books to choose from, and we see a picture of lots of books on the shelves at the One More Page bookstore. They're new editions as opposed to resale or donated books. The bookstore features an eclectic selection of new books, including romance, mystery, nonfiction, and more. Quote, "I really just wanted to have something that would appeal to a variety of people," Carroll said. "I'm trying to have a little bit of everything." One More Page's logo incorporates Carroll's dog, a pit mix named Sadie. Though Sadie is a little too excitable to frequent the store, One More Page is definitely dog-friendly. Canine assistants are welcome to shop with their humans. Quote, "I would love to have Sadie here, but she's just way too enthusiastic," Carroll said. "We probably won't have a petted store, but pets are welcome." And the next headline reads, Carroll purchased historic C Street building that houses the bookstore. And another picture of Lorelei standing inside the store. Carroll not only invested into a business in the heart of C Street, she purchased the building that houses the bookstore. She said she closed on the property purchase last fall, and renovations began almost immediately. Carroll declined to disclose the financial terms of the property acquisition or the total financial investment to open One More Page. The property formerly housed Basilico Italian Cafe, which closed in late 2024, according to previous Daily Citizen reporting. The 3,300 square foot building, purchased in October of 2025 and owned by Sirens Rock LLC, according to Greene County Assessor's Office records. The property was appraised at $204,400. Sirens Rock is registered to Carroll, according to Missouri Secretary of State records. The renovations were mostly cosmetic, Carroll said, but after purchasing the property, she had to jump through hoops with the city to change the property's zoning, and that process took longer than she expected. Carroll bought the building as an investment into the community. She said, quote, "I want to be a real part of the community," Carroll says. "I want to be a part of C Street. I want to be fully invested, figuratively and literally, in this community." Carroll grew up in the Ozarks studying geology and geography at Missouri State University, and after college she managed residential and commercial properties for her family's business, Gillen Waters Developers, Inc., including notable Springfield properties like Kickapoo Corners and Brentwood Center. The next headline, One More Page has boozy aspirations. And what follows is a shot of a person browsing the shelves at the One More Page bookstore. The C Street bookstore is going to eventually offer beer and wine for customers as they peruse the book aisles. Carroll is starting the process of applying for a liquor license, and she hopes to be able to offer guests libations by the end of the year. One More Page will probably do glasses of wine, maybe beer, just so people can come have a glass of wine and look at books, talk about books, and just kind of hang out, Carroll said. But the focus of the business will always be the literature. "We'll be more bookstore than bar," Carroll said. The business owner is planning events at One More Page that celebrate the community. "Part of my mission is that I want to be part of the community at large and help serve the neighborhoods around us," Carroll said. "I want to do story time. I want to have local authors. And I'd love to do some drag queen story times as well. You know, we want to be here for everyone." And also from the Springfield Business Journal, car lovers take note. More than 80 Corvettes are going to be on display this week at the Springfield Expo Center. And we see a picture of an official race car, beautiful Corvette. This Corvette event will bring $147,000 economic impact to Springfield. And an event this week featuring Corvettes is slated to create an economic impact and generate room nights for the Queen City. The St. Louis and Kansas City chapters of the National Corvette Restorers Society are hosting the NCRS Show Me Regional Judging event at the Springfield Expo Center. It's this weekend, April 16th through the 18th, according to a news release. More than 80 Corvettes will be on display, and many of these will represent the best of the best, officials said in the release. There will be beautiful examples of Corvettes from 1953 to the hot new 2026 models and many years in between. Madison Woods, communication manager for Visit Springfield, Missouri, said the event would create an estimated economic impact of $146,927. Total room nights are expected to reach 375, and the event projected to attract 400 attendees, Woods said. And in other news, from the Springfield News-Leader, see who can apply for BBB Springfield's 2,500 Students of Ethics Award. High school juniors in Southwest Missouri graduating in spring 2027 are eligible to apply for the Better Business Bureau Student of Ethics Award, which does include a $2,500 scholarship. The award recognizes a student who demonstrates ethics through leadership, community service, personal integrity, and academic achievement. How to apply for the Student of Ethics Award is the next headline, and we see a picture of a teacher and several students from last year. Last year's winner was Lisa Goodfriend of Central High School, and also was photographed with representatives from U.S. Bank. To apply, first off, students need to submit a copy of their high school transcript, a letter of reference, and a 300-word essay. Applications are due by May 29th and can be submitted online at bbb.org/STLSOE. The winner will receive a $2,500 scholarship to the accredited college or trade school of their choice. They'll also be recognized and read their essay to an audience of business and community leader at the BBB's Torch Awards for Ethics Banquet on October 27th. The Student of Ethics Award is made possible by the support of local businesses. U.S. Bank sponsored the 2025 award. And from the Springfield Business Journal, this written by Karen Crago, a map for a possible future road raises the ire of a neighbor. And what follows is a picture of the location maps of the proposed arterial road depicted with a broken blue line which would be running between Highway 65 and Farm Road 169 in South Springfield. A neighbor voiced strong objections by the possibility of an arterial road crossing his property at the Springfield Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on April 9th. P&Z approved the measure, a 5-year renewal of a map of a possible arterial road in southern Springfield, by an 8-zip vote, with member Helen Gunther absent after a public comment period, with one neighbor expressing perplexity and another telling commissioners he's so mad he was shaking. The latter was Corey Eden, who displayed a poster-sized photo of his 12-acre property. The pic captured a bucolic, wooded setting where he said he sees deer, turkeys, coyotes, while enjoying his quarter-mile walking trail. He also brought a photographic rendering of what the same setting would look like, with an arterial road crossing through it with a snarl of traffic where a line of trees once stood. Quote, "On my land, eminent domain down the line. It's going to happen," Eden said. The map would place an east-west arterial roadway between U.S. Highway 65 and Farm Road 169 in South Springfield. It's an alignment that was first approved in 2001 when City Council adopted the transportation element of a Springfield-Greene County Comprehensive Plan. Debate occurred in 2015-2016, with P&Z approving the first preliminary designs for the road and Council remanding the matter back to P&Z. Council ultimately approved the mapping with a 5-year time limit and clarifying that the mapping is only for properties within city limits. An extension was granted in 2021, and that 5-year extension is set to expire in June. Eden does not live in Springfield. He said he has an Ozark address in Greene County, yet he received notification of the P&Z hearing. "I'm very confused," he says. Quote, "I have an Ozark address. I live in Greene County, but I'm in a City of Springfield meeting. I feel like it's almost like a trick, like I'm not being given the whole truth." Eden said the road was going to go through his woods despite the fact that it is in a floodplain. Eden posted that the road is being considered in part to connect to Lake Springfield, for which a $1 billion recreational, natural, and cultural development plan has been created. "You want to expand that road and get a quicker route to Kissick for something that's not going to happen for 50 years with the Lake Springfield plan," he says. "I mean, come on, guys, this makes no sense." Ben Peterson also spoke up with questions about the plan, saying his property is adjacent to the route, which he is not necessarily for or against. Peterson questioned the placement of the route. "It crosses a bunch of residential lots where just south of it there's open vacant farmland. So I'm not sure why it's proposed to cross all those residential lots," he said. When the route was first proposed, an arterial road may have seemed unlikely. Now, new development in the immediate area has brought Mercy Orthopedic Hospital, an innovative dental, and a temple to serve the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints under construction. Commissioner Bill Knuckles, who was serving his last meeting after 5 years on P&Z because he's moving outside of city limits, noted that Kansas Expressway got its start as a planned arterial. And Bob Hosmer, city planning manager, said National Avenue was also once a pre-mapped street. The city's map applies only to city property, and Hosmer said residents outside the city were notified because if their land were annexed in the future, they would be subject to the same map. If the property were to be annexed, the city would have the authority to act on the road, he said. Hosmer said the city and county have been both adopted the broader Ozarks Transportation Organization Major Thoroughfare Plan, but P&Z was only being asked to approve the alignment within the city. He added that the map merely shows an option of a street. Quote, "It's not going to say that it's going to be built. There's no funding mechanism," he says. "It's just a public notice that we have engineered and designed this street to this location." City Council is scheduled to hold its first reading and public hearing on the mapping issue on May 4th. The next byline reads, Kenworth Plat. P&Z approved the renewal of a preliminary plat of the currently undeveloped 28-acre MHC Kenworth Edition at 5400 East Bucky's Boulevard, just east of the Bucky's Travel Center in East Springfield. TCAC Real Estate, LLC, applied for the renewal of the property that was annexed into the city in 2023. MHC Kenworth's Springfield operation, a semi-truck dealership that offers repairs and parts at 3301 East Kearney Street, is looking to locate to the site under question. Knuckles queried staff about the turning radius on the road for semis, and Justin Crichton, Assistant Director of Planning and Development, acknowledged that the road is, quote, kind of a slalom, coming from Interstate 44, particularly for tractor trailers. Patrick Doty of MHC Kenworth said new and used truck dealer TLG Peterbilt is on the other side of I-44, and he wasn't aware of any issues that they'd had. Council is later to consider the measure on May 4th. And from the Springfield News-Leader, Marta Mees writes about the Jefferson Avenue footbridge reopening delayed as work continues. And a couple of key points about this. The historic Jefferson Avenue footbridge, closed since 2016 due to safety concerns, will not reopen this spring as originally planned. Rehabilitation of the 1902 bridge has been delayed by the project's complexity and supply chain issues with a new target completion of summer. And a celebration for the bridge and the Route 66 Centennial will take place as planned. The historic Jefferson Avenue footbridge has been closed for a decade, while a celebration of the bridge and its long-awaited rehabilitation is planned to align with the National Route 66 Centennial Kickoff celebration. Pedestrians will have to wait a little while longer to set foot on the bridge once more. Built in 1902, the bridge spans 562 feet above 13 railroad tracks. In March 2016, the bridge was closed to foot traffic after a routine inspection found corrosion and safety concerns. For years, the bridge sat stagnant, with rehabilitation work put on pause due to the age and complexity of construction. And what follows is a picture of the bridge as work continues on it. However, since 2023, efforts to renew and reopen the bridge have picked back up, in large part due to a state allocation of $8 million to make way for new paint and replacement of deteriorating numbers. The historic bridge was taken apart in June before being put back together to rejoin the Commercial Street skyline early this year, but more work remains. Overall, the rehabilitation project includes repairing and replacing deficient structural members, installing new decking and stairs, applying a new paint system, and upgrading lighting. 2 elevators will be added, one on each side, to make the bridge accessible and comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. And under an agreement with BNSF Railway Company, the bridge was also raised several feet to improve clearance. Originally, the city was targeting the rehabilitation work to be completed this spring in time for Route 66 events, but Kristen Millam, the city's senior communications coordinator, told the News-Leader via email that ongoing challenges have made that timeline unattainable. She said both the complexity of the structure and supply chain issues with specialized materials and equipment have slowed the project. And we see a picture of a sign with a road closed and work continuing on the footbridge. This was taken just yesterday, as a matter of fact. And it's interesting, they're installing those elevators as well for more accessibility. The city now is targeting summer for completion and reopening the bridge to the public. Quote, "We're hopeful to reopen the bridge later this summer, but are ultimately focused on completing the rehabilitation with the high level of care and quality this iconic structure deserves," Millam said. Mary Collette, an avid C Street advocate and president of the Commercial Club, said she believed construction delays were inevitable, but thinks every milestone is worthy of celebration. While work is still underway, she's looking forward to the next 10 years of the bridge as it symbolizes connection and elevation while bringing together neighbors and visitors alike. What a funky project it is. It's a delicate operation on a major structural engineering masterpiece, Collette said. It brings people together, and I think it's happening at a time when we certainly as a nation need that and need symbols to inspire us to rise above. The total cost of the project is approximately $13 million, and Millam said the renovation remains on budget. Despite the delayed reopening, the Red, White, and Bridge Bash is still on to celebrate Route 66, America's 250th anniversary, and the historic bridge's rebirth. The event is set for 6 to 9 p.m. on Friday, May 1st, and will feature live music, a classic car rally, and a Jefferson Avenue footbridge light and drone show at 8 p.m. The festivities will continue into Saturday, May 2nd for a full-day lineup of musical performances, a classic car show, the C Street City Market, history presentations, and a rededication ceremony for the footbridge. If you know information, of course, just head to the website www.route66kickoff.com/bash. Collette said the event will be a celebration of how close the bridge is to finishing, how the historic architecture joins together with the new construction of elevator metalwork, and how the bridge illuminates the night sky. When the bridge does reopen, it will be an opportunity for yet another party. The footbridge was last rededicated in 2002 for the centennial of the bridge's construction. Then, too, it took 8 years to gather enough support and funding to fix the bridge and restore it from deterioration. Hey, good morning, Tony.
Good morning. 2 men have been charged following a 3-pound fentanyl bust outside of a Springfield hotel. This story from Jackie Rewald in the Springfield Daily Citizen begins with a photo of the La Quinta Inn, located at 2535 South Campbell, and says 2 men are facing federal drug charges following a drug enforcement agency investigation earlier this month at a hotel in South Springfield. Nicholas Moore, age 25, and Dundee D. Hamilton Jr., age 25, are charged with possession with the intent to distribute large amounts of fentanyl. Authorities say Moore and Hamilton were busted with more than 3 pounds of fentanyl. According to charging documents, the DEA had reasonable suspicion Hamilton and Moore were using a room at the La Quinta Inn at 2535 South Campbell Avenue in Springfield to, quote, process and package fentanyl for distribution. Agents conducted surveillance at the motel earlier this month and allegedly observed Moore and Hamilton coming and going. On April 6th, the complaint says agents observed Moore exit the back door of the La Quinta Inn by himself and stand for a few seconds. A short time later, agents observed Hamilton exit the back door of the motel carrying a black bag. The two men then got into a silver Taurus and drove to an adjacent parking lot. According to the criminal complaint, officers knew Hamilton had multiple outstanding warrants and made the decision to arrest him. As agents approached, both men allegedly exited the vehicle and fled on foot. Agents chased and apprehended the men. According to the complaint, Hamilton was found to be in possession of a blue capsule of powder and 2 white pills believed to be counterfeit fentanyl pills. Agents searched the vehicle and found the black bag Hamilton allegedly carried out of the hotel. Inside the black bag was approximately 1.4 kilograms of a white substance that field tested positive for fentanyl, according to the complaint. Hamilton and Moore are each being held at the Greene County Jail as their cases move forward in federal court.
And from the Springfield News-Leader, check this out. Dickerson Park Zoo is reopening their bear boardwalk, giving visitors a better view. After nearly 5 years, Dickerson Park Zoo visitors will once again get a closer and more convenient look at the bear exhibit. Yesterday, Tuesday 14th, the zoo officially opened its new Bear Boardwalk, which connects the Missouri State University Bear Country exhibit to the Ozarks Tech Eagle exhibit after much-needed improvements. As the ribbon was cut on the new walking path and overlook into the bear exhibit, the zoo's 2 black bears, Lil Bear and Yona, joined in on the celebration with their own bear cakes. And the 2 bears even got their own shout-out during the speeches. And we see a picture of those 2 and happily chomping down on their bear cakes. A big thank you to Lil Bear and Yona, our beloved bears, for dealing with the dust during the construction phase, although they probably slept through most of it. Springfield Greene County Parks Director Ron Schneider said the old boardwalk was closed due to structural deterioration in 2021, and the closure restricted access to the bear exhibit, although the animals were still present, and diminished ADA accessibility as well, making this section of the zoo much harder to navigate. At the grand opening yesterday, Councilwoman Callie Carroll, a devoted Missouri State University Bears fan, shared her own experiences of visiting the zoo with a friend who was wheelchair-bound and recognizing the difficulties in traversing this area of the zoo for those with different mobility needs. And we see a picture now of folks on that new bear boardwalk enjoying it and, of course, checking out the bears. Last year, Springfield City Council allocated $580,000 in carryover funds from the 2024 fiscal year budget to go towards the boardwalk, as concerns were raised that the lack of improvements and maintenance could put the zoo's accreditation through the Association of Zoos and Aquariums at risk. The project in total cost just over $600,000, with additional funds coming from the Friends of the Zoo, according to Joey Powell, the zoo's public relations and marketing director. Once funds were secured last year, construction of the new boardwalk was completed in about 6 months. The North American part of the zoo is also gearing up for a new eagle exhibit, which Powell said is expected to begin construction by the end of the year. Oh, and I was also going to say, in case you're wondering where to go buy your arch, news about the McDonald's at Glenstone and Cherry has been set for demolition and rebuild, so you have to check out one of the other McDonald's here in town. It is at 528 South Glenstone Avenue, was being demolished beginning yesterday, and a building permit states a new McDonald's will be built on the property, so that's good news. The McDonald's at the intersection of Glenstone Avenue and Cherry Street in Springfield was in the process of being demolished, and a building permit filed with the city shows that a new McDonald's will be constructed at the site, again located at 528 South Glenstone Avenue. The building permit was filed in August of 2025, but issued on April 10th, according to city records. The building permit lays out a complete demolition of restaurant to build a McDonald's with a drive-through. McDonald's did not immediately respond to a request for comment on plans for the fast food restaurant. At the same location, the company has filed a permit to install a new LED sign. The 4,320 square foot property was owned by McDonald's Real Estate Company and last purchased in March of 2025. According to Greene County Assessor's Office records, the property assessed at just over $900,000.
And in very timely news, this story from Ryan Collins in the Springfield Daily Citizen just broke this morning, and it is timely because I was late because I was at this ribbon cutting ceremony this morning. Springfield Bookstore with boozy ambitions open on historic Commercial Street. Springfield's newest bookstore officially opened on historic Commercial Street last week, and the owner plans to expand the business with a liquor license soon. One More Page, located at 306 East Commercial Street, held a soft opening April 7th, and they just held the ribbon cutting ceremony this morning with the C Street Merchants Association. Owner Lorelei Carroll said historic C Street was her ideal place to put the store. Commercial Street, to me, is a place that I've seen evolve over the last 20 years to such a vibrant community, Carroll said. And I thought if Springfield needs another bookstore, this is where they need one. The bookstore features an eclectic selection of new books, including romance, mystery, LGBTQ+, nonfiction, and more. I really just wanted to have something that would appeal to a variety of people, Carroll said. I'm trying to have a little bit of everything. One More Page's logo incorporates Carol's dog, a pit mix named Sadie. Though Sadie is a little too excitable to frequent the store, One More Page is definitely dog-friendly. Canine assistants are welcome to shop with their humans. I would love to have Sadie here, but she's way too enthusiastic, Carol said. We probably won't have a pet in store, but pets are welcome. Carol not only invested into a business in the heart of C Street, she purchased the building that houses the bookstore. She said she closed on the property purchase last fall and renovations began almost immediately. Carol declined to disclose the financial terms of the property acquisition or the total financial investment to open One More Page. The property formerly housed Basilico Italian Cafe, which closed in late 2024, according to previous Daily Citizen reporting. The 3,300 square foot building was purchased in October 2025 and owned by Sirens Rock LLC, according to Greene County Assessor's Office records. The property was appraised at $204,400. Sirens Rock is registered to Carroll, according to Missouri Secretary of State records. The renovations were mostly cosmetic, Carroll said, but after purchasing the property, she had to jump through hoops with the city to change the property's zoning, and that process took longer than she expected. Carroll bought the building as an investment into the community, she said. I want to be a real part of the community, Carroll said. I wanted to be a part of C Street. I wanted to be fully invested, figuratively and literally, in this community. Carroll grew up in the Ozarks, studying geology and geography at Missouri State University. After college, she managed residential and commercial properties for her family's business, Gillen Waters Developers, Inc., including notable Springfield properties like Kickapoo Corners and Brentwood Center. The C Street bookstore will eventually offer beer and wine for customers as they peruse the book aisles. Carol is starting the process of applying for a liquor license, and she hopes to be able to offer guests libations by the end of the year. One More Page will probably do glasses of wine and maybe beer, just so people can come have a glass of wine and look at books, talk about books, just kind of hang out, Carol said. But the focus of the business will always be the literature. We'll be more bookstore than bar, Carol said. The business owner is planning events at One More Page that celebrate the community. Part of my mission is that I want to be part of the community at large and help serve the neighborhoods around us, Carol said. I want to do story time, I want to have local authors, and I'd love to do some drag queen story times as well. You know, we want to be here for everyone. Editor's note, this story has been updated to correct details on the ribbon cutting ceremony.
And from the Springfield Daily Citizen, Torch told businesses to turn off gaming machines, and in Springfield, not everyone is on board. The next byline reads, a number of Springfield businesses have disabled the slot machines as Torch instructed, while machines were in operation at other businesses. Torch asked customers to voluntarily suspend operations on April 10th. And we see a picture of some of the machines, and there are some tables that have been placed so patrons cannot access the machines, and there's a sign that says temporarily out of service. This was a picture that was taken at Fast and Friendly over on West Chestnut Expressway. Days after Torch Electronics announced it would voluntarily suspend operation of its slot machine-style games across Missouri, compliance among Springfield bars, convenience stores, and other businesses was hit or miss. Springfield Daily Citizen reporters observed the Torch machines, known as video lottery terminals, or VLTs, in operation at a number of businesses in different parts of the city on Monday, April 13th. Other businesses pulled the plug on the machines as Torch had asked of its customers. The VLTs sat in a corner, turned off, and disconnected. Torch announced that it asked customers to turn off machines April 10th as it advocates for legislation that would create a regulated framework for VLTs. The suspension follows a criminal investigation by the Missouri Attorney General's office that resulted in charges last month against a Brookline convenience store operator. The suspension is the latest step in a years-long saga surrounding Torch's machines commonly known by a plethora of names. Besides VLTs, the games are also known as gray machines because they've existed in a gray area of the law. The machines are also known as, quote, no-chance games because of a pre-reveal feature that lets users know if they will win the next spin. The next headline reads, some fast and friendly convenience stores shut down the Torch machines, and we see a picture of one of the machines. Fast and Friendly, a convenience store chain with 11 locations in Springfield, as well as stores in Bolivar and Ozark, had suspended operation of Torch machines in at least a few of its Springfield locations April 13th. At around 8 a.m., Torch machines were operating at the Fast and Friendly, located at 3023 South Scenic Avenue, a Daily Citizen reporter observed. The machines were open to the public, turned on, and displaying different game options. Hours later, around noon, Torch machines were disabled at the store at Kansas Expressway and Sunset Street. An employee at the Fast and Friendly said corporate had called that morning with instructions to turn off the Torch machines. At the Fast and Friendly, located at 501 West Chestnut Expressway, 7 Torch machines were shut down. A sign saying, quote, temporarily out of service blocked off the area. Quote, I think the people turn around and leave when they see the games are off, said employee Diana Ryan. Fast and Friendly corporate office did not return multiple requests for comment on April 13th. The next headline is other convenience stores chains do have machines running. And we see a picture of a gentleman, Dion Perro, playing a Torch machine Monday afternoon at the Phillips 66 White Oak Station on East Kearney. He says if all the machines are shut down, he'll have to go find a casino. The article continues. Last month, Rapid Roberts, another convenience store chain, removed Torch machines from all of its stores across Springfield, according to previous Daily Citizen reporting. Rapid Roberts removed its machines before Torch's voluntary operation suspension. The Torch machines also up and running Monday afternoon at the Phillips 66 White Oak Station at 650 West Kearney Street. There are 6 machines there. And at the Phillips 66 at 3450 West Division Street, where there are 17 machines located. An employee at the White Oak Station provided a reporter with her boss's phone number. He didn't respond by deadline. An employee at the Phillips 66 station at Division West Bypass declined comment and declined to provide any contact information for his boss. Dion Perro of Springfield was playing a Torch machine at the Phillips 66 White Oak Station. He says he plays, quote, all the time. Why? Quote, I win. What would happen if all the machines were shut down? He was asked. I'd be bored, he says. I'd have to go find a casino. Some bars and businesses disabled Torch machines while others didn't. And we see a picture of a Wicked Superstore where 17 Torch machines were up and running Monday afternoon. Some Springfield bars and restaurants have heeded Torch's request, turned off the machines, and have barred customers from accessing them. Torch slot machines were powered down and disconnected at Carey's Bar at 1906 East Meadowmere Street on April 13th, the Daily Citizen reporter observed. The business owner did not return a request for comment. A couple intersections down, Glenstone Avenue, Archie's Lounge on East Grand Street still had Torch machines in operation April 13th, a Daily Citizen reporter observed. The owner declined to comment on the machines. The 17 Torch machines at Wicked Superstore on East Kearney Street were up and running in the back room Monday afternoon. An employee said his manager would have to respond to any questions from a reporter. He gave the Springfield Daily Citizen the manager's email. And Caprice Schlaley, the manager, said he would talk to a reporter only if the story included the multiple challenges his business faces, including a federal ban on THCA, a cannabinoid found in raw, unheated cannabis and hemp plants. The reporter declined. The city of Springfield declined to comment due to ongoing litigation. Chris Waters, public affairs officer for the Springfield Police Department, said enforcement of the 2024 city ordinance banning no-chance games is ongoing and has not stopped. SPD declined to provide further details to ongoing litigation. Torch Electronics spokesperson Greg Keller declined to comment on the record about businesses shirking the company's request. The Missouri Attorney General's office did not respond to a request for comment on April 13th regarding Torch machines still in operation at some Springfield businesses. Talwinder Singh owns the Phillips 66 AM/PM Food Mart on West Kearney Street. Singh said he shut down his 8 machines, which are in the adjoining laundromat, April 10th after he received a letter from Torch asking him to do so. Singh said he only had the machines for about 2 months, and he said the lost revenue hurts. Quote, we're a small business. The machines definitely are a help for us.
And a Springfield man has been accused of starting a fire that killed 10 cats. In this story by Harrison Keegan from the Springfield Daily Citizen, we learned that a Springfield man is being held in the Greene County Jail without bond after authorities say he intentionally started a fire in a building that killed 10 cats. Aiden Kinney, age 23, was charged Friday, April 10th with second-degree arson. According to a probable cause statement written by an investigator with the Springfield Fire Department, crews were dispatched a little before noon on March 19th to a fire at a shed/detached garage where a woman was living. The statement says the building was a total loss. The victim was not home at the time, but her 10 cats were inside and all died in the fire. A surveillance camera from nearby residents captured images of the suspect, and the victim quickly identified the suspect as Kenny, according to the statement. Prosecutors say the victim also showed investigators messages Kenny had allegedly sent her that day, quote, taunting the victim and alluding to the fact that he set fire to the building she was staying in. The statement says Kenny was arrested on April 9th and admitted to starting the fire by placing a Taco Bell box next to the building and lighting it on fire. Kenny allegedly told investigators he had been using methamphetamine but knew it was likely the cats were inside when he started the fire. The statement says Kenny became emotional during the interview and stated he was remorseful for the death of the cats. In asking that Kenny be held without bond, an assistant Greene County prosecutor wrote that Kenny does not have a criminal history, but his actions in this case are very concerning, later adding he is a clear danger to the victim in this case. Kenny does not have an attorney listed as representing him. The location of the fire is redacted from publicly available court documents. And in other public safety news, the Christian County Sheriff's Office announces a law enforcement training academy. This article from the Springfield Daily Citizen and Zoe McIntyre says that the Christian County Sheriff's Office is partnering with the Missouri Sheriff's Association to offer a 700-hour basic law enforcement academy from August 3rd to early December 2026. Sheriff Brad Cole said the program will be a, quote, huge benefit to Southwest Missouri, as the only other full-time law enforcement training academy in the region is offered at Drury University. This opens up many more options for people. One of the big things about it is the cost effectiveness, he said, adding that the program will be about half the cost of Drury's course. The course instructs new deputies on a wide variety of skills, from the criminal process to report writing, responding to various scenes, searches and seizures, gun use, and driving. All of the instructors will be Christian County deputies, and classes will be held at the Ozarks Technical Community College, Richwood Valley campus in Ozark, Cole said. Tuition is $5,500 for the course, or $4,500 for enrollees who are sponsored by a sheriff's office. The sheriff said he would not be surprised if 15 to 20 people enroll in the first academy. Christian County has already received multiple inquiries. We want to do one academy per year at a minimum, Cole said. The application for the academy is available online, and that is located at mosheriffs.com/academy.
And from the Springfield News-Leader, Republic Services pays $200,000 to settle a sex discrimination lawsuit. A couple of key points. A Springfield Waste Management Company will pay $200,000 to settle a sex discrimination lawsuit. The lawsuit alleged the company failed to hire a qualified female truck driver, instead hiring a less qualified male. The settlement money will be distributed among the initial applicant and 4 other women. And the company must also implement new training and policies to prevent future sex discrimination in hiring. And the article begins with the Springfield Waste Management Company agreeing to pay $200,000 to settle a sex discrimination case dating back to 2020. A federal lawsuit was filed in 2023 by the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission against Allied Services, LLC, which does business as Allied Waste Services of the Ozarks, Republic Services of the Ozarks, for failing to hire a female garbage truck driver and instead hiring a less qualified male candidate. And what follows is a picture of one of Republic Services' trucks. Jamie Mendoza applied to work for Republic Services in 2020, according to the lawsuit. After an interview and tour of the facility, she went on a ride-along with a trash truck driver. According to the lawsuit, the company managers told Mendoza during her interview that she should consider whether she truly wanted the position. They said that because female drivers had not worked out in the past, Republic Services would have to build a locker room with a shower for female drivers if she was hired. When Mendoza indicated she still wanted the job, the company rejected her and instead hired a man for the position. According to previous News-Leader reporting, Mendoza had held a commercial driver's license longer, had more large commercial trucking experience, and had more years' experience continually operating vehicles requiring a commercial driver's license. Mendoza applied for trash truck driver positions at Republic Services 2 to 3 more times, but was not interviewed or offered the position. The company did not have any female drivers at the time, and the lawsuit alleged that since at least March 2020, it had routinely failed to hire qualified female applicants for driver positions because of their sex. The lawsuit was filed after the EEOC first tried to reach a pre-litigation settlement through its administrative conciliation process, according to an EEOC news release. The $200,000 monetary settlement was reached just weeks before the case was set to go to jury trial starting April 13th. Republic Services provided the following written statement on the matter. Quote, Republic Services of the Ozarks is committed to fair and respectful workplace practices that are free from discrimination. We emphatically deny any wrongdoing in this matter and chose to settle this case to avoid further litigation for all parties involved. According to the documents filed in federal court, Mendoza will receive $150,000 of the settlement amount, half of which will be designated as lost wages, and the other half as compensatory damages. The lawsuit identified 4 additional women who will also receive monetary compensation. One of these will receive a total of $20,000, and 3 others will receive $10,000, both split evenly between wages and damages. The settlement also includes a requirement that Republic Services adopt or maintain and abide by policies and procedures to prevent sex discrimination when hiring for trash truck drivers, utilize an applicant tracking system, require all managers, supervisors, human resources personnel, and others involved in hiring to complete a minimum 1-hour live in-person interactive training on an annual basis, and report information to the EEOC regarding applicants and sworn certifications that the company has complied with all requirements. These requirements will be in place for 3 years. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Sarah Jones from the Springfield News-Leader. New Youth Mental Health Campus opens in Springfield. A new facility in Springfield is aiming to provide support for young people facing mental health and substance use challenges, according to a community announcement. Centerstone hosted a grand opening for its Youth Resiliency Campus on April 9th. The 25,858 square foot building houses a behavioral health crisis center, an intensive outpatient treatment center, and a residential treatment center for individuals ages 13 to 17. The campus is designed to provide care for youth in crisis with a 20-bed residential treatment center, a partial hospitalization program, and an intensive outpatient treatment program. The Behavioral Health Crisis Center will be open around the clock for clients at risk of harming themselves or others, with treatment lasting up to 23 hours at a time. The campus also features a gym, an art room, a music room, and an outdoor recreation space. We want anyone who steps through those doors to know that this space was designed for them. Centerstone Director of Youth Stabilization Services, Joel Ohl, said in the announcement. Our main goal is stabilization and reintegration into day-to-day life. This is the place where a youth and their family can figure out what's next and take a step forward toward a brighter tomorrow. This space will serve as a sanctuary for youth facing a range of challenges, from acute mental health issues to substance use. Centerstone, Missouri CEO Matt Gass said in the announcement, the YRC is a transformative project designed to help provide youth's emergency 24/7 behavioral health care and expanded residential care services, but also opportunities to address needs before they escalate to crisis levels. To offer all these services on one campus is truly remarkable, and it's very exciting for our team members. $13 million campus funded by multiple sources. The $13 million Youth Resiliency Campus construction was funded in part by a $5.3 million allocation from Greene County via the American Recovery Plan Act. Centerstone also received $5 million for the Residential Treatment Center in the Missouri State budget for 2025-2026 and $1 million from the Missouri Department of Mental Health. We're so excited about this innovative, forward-thinking model that will address gaps in services for youth experiencing mental health or substance use crisis across all of Southwest Missouri, Greene County's 2nd District Commissioner John C. Russell said in the announcement. Today is more than a ribbon cutting. It is a statement that our community sees our youth. We hear them, and we are committed to supporting them for a lifetime. It's a campus that has a reality of a $13 million investment, but more importantly, represents a decision to do things differently, to intervene earlier, to make health accessible, and to give young people a real shot at getting back on the right path. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe said in the announcement. This is what it looks like when we focus on results, not talk. Campus designed with safety and comfort in mind. A lot of people don't realize this 28,000 square foot location was designed and built by our providers, Ole said in the announcement. Our facilities management team worked with our clinical team and our youth services team to come up with a building that will be welcoming, safe, and bright. Ole said that the Behavioral Health Crisis Center will serve individuals ages 12 to 18 and will provide immediate stabilization care. We have the ability to reduce the number of acute hospitalizations for our clients and hopefully within the 23-hour period work to calm and resolve issues and send the client and guardian out with a treatment plan they can use to return home, learn, and grow, Ole said in the announcement. Story Construction served as the contractor for the project. The campus is at 2748 North National Avenue in Springfield.
Okay, and from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield subdivision is suing the city over housing development's approval. And a couple of key points about this. A lawsuit alleges the 510-unit mixed housing project violates the city's comprehensive plan. City Council did approve the rezoning for the 48-acre development despite significant opposition from nearby residents. A housing development proposal in East Springfield that attracted the largest crowds of people Springfield City Council and Planning and Zoning Commission has seen in recent years could now be headed to court. The Cooper Estates Property Owners Association filed a lawsuit against the city on Monday, April 13th, alleging that the development conflicts with Springfield's comprehensive plan. Council approved the rezoning of a recently annexed 48 acres at 3830 East Division Street to make way for a mixed housing development in November. The project includes a total of 510 units at the southeast corner of Division Street and LeCompte Road, with housing of a range of types from single-family homes and duplexes to 10 three-story apartment buildings. Council voted to approve the rezoning 8-1, with Councilman Craig Hosmer the only one in opposition. As part of the project, developers are required to construct several traffic and infrastructure updates, which most notably included a traffic signal at the intersection. The property was rezoned as a planned development, which is a unique zoning type that requires a site plan the applicant is bound to follow. And what we see next is a layout of the several housing types, including those apartment buildings that the public hearing was held on. This was set back in October of 21st when they first presented this site plan. Throughout the months-long rezoning process, residents of nearby Cooper Estates, Hickory Valley, the Lakes at Wild Horse, Bristol Park, Winsmore, and other subdivisions voiced concerns, arguing that what's proposed is too dense for the area, would negatively affect traffic, and is not in line with the character of the surrounding neighborhoods. While neighbors tried to gather signatures to appeal council's decision on the rezoning, the petition ultimately fell short, in large part because nearby residents live outside of city limits and were ineligible to sign. Now, Cooper Estates has sued the city. Cooper Estates is located directly west of the development across LeCompte. When the News-Leader reached out to the city for comment, Chief Spokesperson Cora Scott said in a message that, quote, "We found out about this lawsuit from media accounts. Since it's pending litigation, we'll not discuss it at this time." And we see a picture of that large meeting, the Planning and Zoning, where more than 30 residents spoke out against that housing development. One of the central claims of the lawsuit is that the rezoning and the proposed development directly conflict with the forward SGF comprehensive plan. The property was identified under the traditional neighborhood place type in the comprehensive plan, according to the city staff's report, included in documents for the rezoning. The place type is comprised of predominantly single-family homes, but also support low-intensity multifamily housing and other low-intensity developments. According to the petition filed in Greene County Circuit Court, residents believe the rezoning is in conflict with the low-intensity characteristics of multifamily housing when it comes to the proposed apartment buildings. Forward SGF also indicates higher density housing in traditional neighborhoods should be located along the periphery of development, but in this case, they would be placed near the middle of the lot. However, these are also placed along the east property line of the property, with the lower density housing types placed the closest to Cooper Estates. The property on the east of the development has not been annexed into the city. The lawsuit claims the ordinance to rezone the property violated both state law and the city's own code. State law requires that zoning decisions are made in line with a comprehensive plan, as does the city's code, alongside other considerations, including infrastructure, traffic impacts, and economic viability. Cooper Estates POA argues because the development does not align with Forward SGF, it's not compatible with the surrounding single-family subdivisions, requires extension of sewer infrastructure, and only considered a limited traffic impact study. The approval of the rezoning did not comply with the evaluation required by the code. Through the lawsuit, Cooper Estate residents are asking the court to find that council adopted the rezoning in violation of state and city law, and therefore it's invalid. Prior to council's approval, P&Z initially recommended denial of the rezoning when the case first arose last summer, but it ultimately recommended approval in a 5-3 vote on October 9th, after the developer made adjustments and was working on a cost-share agreement for the traffic light. The main changes from the initial proposal were the restriction to 3 stories, addition of another apartment building, and reduction of total units by 20. Before any construction can actually begin, the development still must pass additional steps and undergo a subdivision process that will include additional in-depth analysis of the land. The project is being pursued by a California-based multifamily housing investment corporation, Canyon View Capital, alongside local and British builders. Canyon View Capital has several other Springfield area housing developments in its portfolio, including Kensington Park and Old Stone Apartments. Is that right?
From the Springfield News-Leader, QPS Missouri expands clinical research to patients in Springfield. People living with chronic health conditions now have more opportunities to participate in medical research in Springfield. QPS Holdings, LLC, is expanding its clinical research efforts in Springfield to include more patient population-focused studies. This means individuals with conditions such as diabetes and high cholesterol can now take part in research that could shape the future of healthcare, according to a community announcement. Since 1994, QPS Missouri has conducted early-phase clinical trials with healthy volunteers. The organization is now increasing the number of studies involving individuals with chronic health concerns. Expanding into patient population studies allows us to work directly with individuals who are living with specific health conditions and want to be part of advancing medical research, said Brendan Borg, Vice President and General Manager of QPS Missouri. Every participant plays an important role in helping researchers better understand potential treatments that can improve lives around the world. Financial benefits for participants. We see a picture of the QPS building. Participation in clinical research also brings economic benefits to the local community. Since opening, QPS Missouri has paid more than $55 million in stipends to study participants, including $4.5 million in 2025. Participants receive compensation for their time and involvement while contributing to the development of new therapies. The QPS Missouri campus has conducted research in Springfield for more than 3 decades, working with more than 50,000 study participants. The campus includes multiple clinical research units, laboratories, an on-site pharmacy, a negative pressure room, a screening and recruiting center, and more than 240 research beds. Clinical research is truly about people being people, Borg added. We're proud that our community continues to play an important role in the advancement of medicines.
And in area obituaries, Jane Totten-Roll, age 93, passed away on Sunday, April 12th at Parkview Healthcare Facility in Bolivar after a short illness. Robert Bob Davis, formerly of Houston, Missouri, passed away peacefully March 19th in St. Louis, surrounded by family. Richard L. Dick Shearer, who was the son of Nellie Mae and William Shearer, was born July 22, 1943 in Kirksville, Missouri. He passed away from this earth on April 10th. He had attended public schools in Kirksville and graduated from Kirksville High. And Mary Lou Stuffelbaum passed away Tuesday, March 31st at the age of 92. She was born April 30th, 1933 to Clarence and Veggie Mencken in Harrison, Arkansas. And Betty McPherson passed away Friday, April 10th. She was born September 17th, 1927, to Frank and Beulah Robertson in Springfield, Missouri, where she grew up and attended Springfield schools. And Faye Bartlett Vanderbilt Ollis died April 7th in Springfield. She was born in Springfield on June 9, 1934. Her mother was Frances Baggett Bartlett and father Benjamin Allen Bartlett.
From the Springfield News-Leader, New Care to Learn partnership will support 12,000 Missouri students. Care to Learn and the Silver Dollar City Foundation are teaming up to provide health, hunger, and hygiene resources to more than 12,000 students in Stone and Taney counties, according to a community announcement. The partnership, branded as Together for Kids, will establish 10 new Care to Learn chapters in the Blue Eye, Branson, Crane, Galena, Kirbyville, Mark Twain, Shell Knob, Spokane, Teeneyville, and Forsyth school districts by the end of the 2025-26 school year. Existing Care to Learn chapters in Bradleyville, Hollister, Hurley, and Reed Springs will also receive additional support. And we see a picture of a bunch of students in front of a building at Silver Dollar City. Meeting the needs of students. Care to Learn is a nonprofit organization that partners with more than 55 Missouri school districts to address children's health, hunger, and hygiene needs. Since its funding in 2008, the organization has met more than 4.6 million needs, including providing eyeglasses, vision exams, emergency dental care, prescriptions, assistive devices, and mental health services. The Silver Dollar City Foundation is the philanthropic arm of Silver Dollar City Parks and Resorts and has been working through local schools to help children and families since 1996. Silver Dollar City Foundation has already shown a deep commitment to students, Crystal Simon, CEO of Care to Learn, said in the announcement. This partnership will extend that commitment beyond the classroom into the daily lives of students, ensuring they are ready to learn. Together we can remove barriers to education for thousands of children and build a brighter future for students. Expanding support for educators. The partnership will expand the impact of the Silver Dollar City Foundation's Care for Kids program by incorporating the Care to Learn model. For 20 years, Silver Dollar City Foundation has been empowering educators to meet the physical needs of students. Mindy Honey, Executive Director of the Silver Dollar City Foundation, said in the announcement, "This partnership means we'll continue to meet the needs and many more. This partnership is about ensuring our area educators have the resources and funding they need so that when they see a need, they can meet a need." For more information about the Together for Kids partnership, visit caretolearn.org/togetherforkids or email Marissa Ray, Vice President of Chapter Services, at melissa@caretolearn.org.
And in sports news, a win over Mizzou would give Missouri State coach Joey Hawkins a bonus per his contract. Here are some details of the successful 33-year-old skipper's contract that was extended in December. What follows is a picture of Coach watching a fly ball during a recent game. Missouri State's recent contract extension of Joey Hawkins is looking better every week. Hawkins, one of the youngest Division I head baseball coaches at 33, leads a Bears team 24-10, 12-3 CUSA that is a game out of first in the Conference USA standings, has a 15th ranked RPI, and is currently considered the number 23 team in the country by Perfect Game. It boasts a potent and crowd-pleasing offense that ranks in the top 10 in home runs, 70, and top 20 in runs, 9.17 per game. Personnel-wise, MSU has a 6'6", hard-swing center fielder in Caden Bogenpole, expected to be a first-round MLB draft pick in July, as well as one of the college baseball's top two-way players in Max Knight. Monday, Logan Fife was named National Shortstop of the Week. MSU is also perfect at home. The Bears can extend their home winning streak to 16 with a win over in-state foe Mizzou at Hammonds Field. There's a 5:30 p.m. start time today. On Friday, MSU continues Conference USA play with a 3-game homestand against Western Kentucky. A win over Mizzou or any Power 5 team on MSU's schedule would give Hawkins a $500 bonus per his contract. He also gets a $500 bonus each time the Bears beat a top 25 ranked team. Home wins over then number 17 ranked Arkansas, the final score was 15-14 in extra innings, and Oklahoma State 16-2 in March led to bigger paydays. The next headline, how Hawkins got extended. Hawkins, a former Missouri State infielder, MLB draft pick, and MSU assistant before being named head coach in 2024, initially signed a 3-year, $144,000 per year contract. On December 15th, 2025, Hawkins signed an amended contract that extended him to 2029 with a slight pay increase to $144,600. He was given one of the 2 additional years per the terms of his initial contract for winning a 2025 Missouri Conference regular season title. The Bears went 30-25 in Hawkins' first year at the helm and shared an MVC title with Murray State before falling to the Racers in the MVC tournament title game. Missouri State would later advance to the College World Series. Now a Conference USA member, if Missouri State finishes tied for 4th place or better in the CUSA standings or wins the tournament, Hawkins is extended an additional year. Hawkins' recently amended contract noted he was also get a 1-year extension if MSU has a change at athletic director during Hawkins' contract term. Missouri State Athletic Director Patrick Ransdale was hired in late August 2024, more than 2 months after former MSU AD Kyle Motes left for the same role at Eastern Kentucky. Hawkins was officially named MSU's head coach on June 4, 2024, shortly before Motes' departure was officially announced on June 10th of 2024. Here are a couple other incentives of Hawkins' contract. Other monetary incentives other than that $500 for each Power 5 and Top 25 win include if Missouri State wins or shares a Conference USA regular season title, a $2,500 bonus. If Missouri State wins the CUSA tournament, $2,500 bonus. At-large NCAA tournament bid, a $700 bonus for each game appearance. If Missouri State wins an NCAA regional, a $5,000 bonus. If Missouri State wins an NCAA Super Regional, a $10,000 bonus. If Missouri State advances to the NCAA Championship Series, a $25,000 bonus. If they win the College World Series, a $50,000 bonus. If Missouri State has an APR, Academic Progress Rate, of 985 or higher, a $500 bonus. If Hawkins is named CUSA Coach of the Year by conference coaches or conference media, a $2,500 bonus. And finally, if Missouri State's home attendance averages 1,000 or greater for the season, again, a $1,000 bonus.
From the Springfield Daily Citizen, new U Picnics at Berry Farm opens with season's first strawberries. On Tuesday, visitors will get their first taste of Riverdale Berry Farm's strawberries. And there's a picture of a little trail going through strawberries. Strawberries will be the first fruit harvested this spring at the Riverdale Berry Farm, as the others are still in the growing phases of harvesting. Riverdale Berry Farm is opening for visitors to pick the first fresh strawberries of the season at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, April 14th. Amy and Russell Guyon, co-owners of Walnut Street Barbershop in Springfield, have spent 3 years preparing the soil and cultivating strawberry, blackberry, and blueberry bushes on about 8 acres of their property just south of Nix's city limits. The couple bought the riverfront acreage at 889 West Riverdale Drive with a plan to build a home and move into the country. Russell began eyeing part of the property for a berry patch when he learned how fertile the ground was. And there's a picture of those 2 people standing in the berry patch. I've kind of rolled that berry farm idea around in my head for a few years at different times, but no, I didn't really have that in mind when we bought this, he said. And then I did some soil tests and things, and I realized that this dirt was really good dirt, and I thought it would just be a shame not to grow something on it. 3 varieties of strawberries are ready to pick, with strawberry season mostly running through May. Blackberries will come in June and July. In 2027, Riverdale Berry Farm expects to have its first crop of blueberries. And the headline reads, "Family helped plant thousands of berry bushes." And there is a picture of strawberries. There are 3 varieties of strawberries grown on the farm: Chandler, Ruby June, and SB025. Owning a berry farm is endless labor, Russell said. It just goes on and on. It's all handwork, a lot of handwork, just hundreds of hours. That labor included drilling a well on the property and installing irrigation lines around each row of berries. The rows are numerous, totaling 1,000 blackberry bushes, 1,000 blueberry bushes, and 15,000 strawberry plants. The couple had help from their 2 children, 1 nephew, and Russell's parents, who are in their 80s. They helped us plant strawberries and blueberries, Amy said. And there is a picture of packed up strawberries. It says, oh no, those are beehives. It says, beekeeper Mary Little's small colony of bees with hives located in a back corner of the farm pollinates the berry plants. On the farm's first day of picking, Amy will be working together with her mom. She's going to come help. We're definitely very family-oriented people, she said. Amy, maiden name St. George, has deep roots in the area. Each year since 1890, members of her family have held a week-long reunion on the same road where the berry farm is located. The Gans have had many excited neighbors stop in since they began developing the farm. I think people are just excited to see us do something with it other than sell the dirt, Amy said. Want to go? What? You pick strawberries for $5 per pound and pre-picked for $6.25. Where? 889 West Riverdale Drive, Nixa, Missouri 65714. When? Picking starts at 10 a.m. Tuesday, April 4th. Days and hours may vary during the season based on the ripeness of the fruit. Learn more about the Riverdale Berry Farm on Facebook.
And we're broadcasting live from the Blind Community Thrift Store, located at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield, Missouri. For additional information about our store, visit our official website at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. To explore more of our video content, including movie reviews with Matt and Meredith, adaptive technology training videos, and other informative material, visit our YouTube channel by searching for Blind Community Thrift Store. Our organization is dedicated to supporting the blind community through various initiatives, and our online platforms serve as valuable resources for community engagement and education. And from the Springfield News-Leader, Trump says U.S.-Iran peace talks could restart this week. President Donald Trump said yesterday that talks between the U.S. and Iran could restart this week in Pakistan as American armed forces imposed a naval blockade on Iranian ports and coastal areas. Trump, in an interview with the New York Post, said negotiations, quote, could be happening within the next 2 days in Pakistan. An additional round of peace talks in Islamabad fell apart over disagreements about the future of Iran's nuclear enrichment program. U.S. Central Command on Tuesday hailed the American blockade on Iran a success, saying no ships managed to pass restricted areas during the first 24 hours of the blockade. 6 commercial vessels complied with orders to turn around. In Washington, Secretary of State Marco Rubio hosted talks between envoys from Lebanon and Israel, the first diplomatic talks between the two countries in decades. The negotiations came as Israel and Iran-backed Hezbollah continued to trade strikes and rocket fire. And days after Israel and the U.S. launched the war on Iran, Hezbollah fired rockets at northern Israel in support of Tehran. Israel responded with a punishing bombing campaign that devastated parts of Beirut and a ground invasion into a large section of southern Lebanon. The next headline, Iran war casts a shadow on King Charles' visit to the U.S. King Charles' upcoming trip to the United States, where he plans to sit down for tea with President Trump, is making waves across the pond, where lawmakers say the United Kingdom needs to draw a hard line with Trump over his wartime rhetoric. The king and his wife, Queen Camilla, are set to head to the U.S. April 27th for a 4-day visit marking the 250th anniversary of American independence from the Crown. Their trip itineraries include a ceremonial dinner at the White House, an address to Congress by King Charles, and a trip to New York to meet with family members of 9/11 victims. Ed Davey, a member of Parliament and leader of the Liberal Democrats Party, called on Prime Minister Keir Starmer to urge the king to call off the visit, warning Charles could be used as a prop to signal British support for the war. He is no friend of the United Kingdom. He is no leader of the free world. He's a corrupt gangster, and that is how we must treat him, said Davey of Trump. I really fear for what Trump might say or do while our king is forced to stand by his side. We cannot put His Majesty in that position. Davey singled out Trump's comments on April 7th about wiping out Iran's, quote, whole civilization. The Crown says it will proceed as planned. The visit recognizes the challenges the United Kingdom, the United States, and our allies face across the world. A Buckingham Palace spokesperson said Tuesday, quote, this visit is a moment to reaffirm and renew our bilateral ties as we address those challenges together in the UK's national interest.
And from the Springfield Daily Citizen, the 160 Grand Prix is to reopen in the early summer of 2026. The business is staying in the family with new owners completing upgrades before opening for the season. And there's a picture of the couple in front of the 160 Grand Prix sign. Katie and Mike Henniger posed next to the 160 Grand Prix sign on Thursday, April 9th, 2026 in Nixa. North Nixa's outdoor go-kart track will be open again for the 2026 season. The attraction has closed twice since 2020. New owners Katie and Mike Henniger are cleaning up the property with the goal of reopening in early summer. The previous owner, Jason Madura, was Katie's older brother. He died in a June 2025 vehicle crash at age 43, which led to the Grand Prix, I-160 Grand Prix going on the market through Christian County's probate court. We would hate to see something that's just good, wholesome family fun go away, said Katie Henniger, adding that she knew it was possible the property would be razed and turned into a gas station or a pharmacy or whatever if it sold to someone outside the family. There's a picture of go-karts. It says, the go-karts will still be the heart of the Grand Prix, although the couple says they will need some cleanup work done before being ready to use. Madura and Katie Henniger grew up around the Nixa area. She moved back to Nixa about 15 years ago with her husband, who co-owns United Plumbing with her. The couple is completing some updates on the 160 Grand Prix to bring it back to life. They declined to state what they paid for the property, but said they expect to invest around $500,000 into the project before reopening. Consistent hours, affordable prices are primary goals. One of Henniger's main goals is to offer consistent hours this summer. They plan to be open from Wednesday through Sunday. For several years, 160 Grand Prix was open for inconsistent hours and days. Madura owned PowerMax Electric and was juggling multiple businesses. Not long before Madura's death, he decided to sell the electrical company and his other property so he could focus on 160 Grand Prix, Mike Henniger said. They were ready to move back here and just kind of go 100% in on this, he said. Katie Henniger added, "We're going to see that vision through. The family has a knack for running businesses," she said, and they are committed to keeping 160 Grand Prix affordable for the community. And there's pictures of mini golf holes. One of the investments will be upgrading the putt-putt course, including new greens that will last 10 or more years. Before the attraction reopens, the new owners are working to make the batting cages operational again and update the putt-putt golf holes. The whole property will receive a bit of a facelift. For instance, the fake palm trees dotting the green will go, replaced by natural boulders and water features. Property comes with room to expand. The new owners are stepping in as another nearby landmark, the former Illusion Strip Club, is being gutted and transformed into an office space for Nixa insurance agent Jane Young. "I think this place being cleaned up and that place being cleaned up is going to help the whole area," Katie Henniger said. The business is located on just over 9 acres. Although the current focus is reopening existing attractions, Katie Henniger said the business plans to expand and use more of the property in the future. She and her husband have discussed the possibilities of adding food trucks or a paintball course. Taking over 160 Grand Prix has been a full-circle moment for Katie Henniger, who said her brother initially asked her to be his business partner when he purchased it. He called and was like, "Hey, do you want to go buy the go-kart track with me?" And I was like, "No," she said. And so we like to think that he's kind of looking down like, "Ha-ha."
Hey, do you love falafel? You could win 2 tickets to Route 66 Centennial Concert. This is from the Springfield News-Leader, and in 417 Food News, a Springfield restaurant offers concert tickets to those up for a challenge, and a Battlefield Mall food court favorite has closed its doors. Plus, another spot for coffee has popped up in the Ozarks. Well, as I asked, do you love falafel? It could be your ticket to the Route 66 Centennial Kickoff Concert. If you enjoy a challenge and you love falafel, that Lebanese place has an opportunity for you. Eat 66 falafel in 60 minutes or less to win 2 tickets to the National Route 66 Centennial Kickoff Concert. The concert, which is hosted by actor John Goodman and Springfield City Council member Callie Carroll, features Little Big Town, Chris Jansen, Gary Laveau, and the Ozark Mountain Daredevils. Also, the Haygoods will be performing. That Lebanese place will be running the challenge on April 25th at the restaurant on 338 East Commercial Street. Participants should sign up in person at that Lebanese place before 8 p.m. on March 22nd. Now, there is a $25 entry fee required to secure a spot, which goes towards the cost of the falafel if you don't win. If you finish the challenge, you have no additional cost other than that $25 entry fee. And the fastest finisher wins the tickets if there are multiple completions. Only one prize will be awarded. Now, if you don't win the challenge, your check total is $99, and that entry fee is applied toward that, leaving $74 due. Participants can take home the remainder of the falafel as well. If you need more information, like to check out the full rules, just head to facebook.com/events/949-197 824-146-531. Go to the facebook.com events page. Food court favorite has closed in Battlefield Mall. Max Orient, which has been in the Battlefield Mall since at least 2001, according to News-Leader reporting, has closed its spot in the food court. Last day, March 31st, per a banner, but its brick and mortar location at 1155 East Battlefield Road is still open. The location on the corner of Battlefield Road and National Avenue opened in 2022, and in a News-Leader article prior to the opening, Aaron Yon, the owner, said the restaurant offers a relaxed, comfortable environment that was not always possible in a bustling mall food court. Max Orient at 1155 East Battlefield Road is open from 11:30 to 8:30 p.m. Monday through Thursdays, 11 to 9 Fridays, Saturdays, and 11 to 8 on Sundays. And Coffee Stand is open in Nixa. 7 Brew, a drive-through coffee stand with more than a dozen locations in the Ozarks, had a ribbon cutting for its newest stand. The new 7 Brew Drive is open at 413 North Bukowski Street in Nixa. Its regular hours, 5:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursdays, and 5:30 a.m. till 11 Friday and Saturdays. As part of the opening, 7 Brew Nixa donated $27,750 to the Hope Foundation, according to the news release. Quote, "We're pleased to continue 7 Brew's expansion in Missouri with the addition of the Nixa stand," said Jake Keller, Director of Development for 7 Brew Nixa, in the news release. "We're eager to get to know this community by brewing smiles and through our partnership with Hope Foundation." The business will host, quote, "community hours from April 6th through April 10th. Darn, we just missed that. During which all customers will be receiving some goodies. The location, again, is located over on McCroskey Street in Nixa.
And this just in from the Springfield Daily Citizen. Aldi plans a 4th Springfield store in Southwest Corridor. The grocery chain filed building project plans with the City of Springfield on April 13th to start construction on a store at 3960 West Washita Street. And there is a picture of an empty store. City of Springfield records indicate an Aldi is going in at the Springfield Plaza Shopping Center on East Washita Street. Aldi is making moves for its 4th store in Springfield with its eyes on a property in the growing southwest corridor of the city. The grocery chain filed building project plans with the City of Springfield on April 13th to start construction on a store at 3960 West Washita Street, according to city records. The location would be the Springfield's 4th Aldi store near other major retailers like Petco, Ulta Beauty, and Walmart Supercenter in the Springfield Plaza shopping centers. The plans are pending and have not been approved by city officials. The building project has a proposed start date of July 21st, 2026, and a proposed stop date of November 18th, 2026. And they show a little map of where the Aldi's are in Springfield. There's 4 of them, and where the new one is going to be. Aldi's building project plan shows the company will retrofit the grocery store into an existing mercantile space, according to the plans filed with the city. The space will need a new freezer, cooler, HVAC system, electrical package, and rooftop units. The entire shopping center had more than 150,000 square feet and was owned by Grace One LLC, according to Greene County Assessor's Office records. The property was appraised at $7.5 million. Grace One was registered to Timothy O'Reilly, according to the Missouri Secretary of State records.
And the public is invited as Missouri Trails Board reviews the 2026 grant requests. The Missouri Trails Advisory Board will be meeting April 18th to discuss the 2026 Recreational Trails Program grant applications, according to a community announcement. The meeting is scheduled to begin at 10:30 at the Jefferson Landing State Historic Site at 100 Jefferson Street in Jefferson City. It is open to the public. The agenda is set to include a discussion of the 2026 Recreational Trails Program grant applications and recommendations from the board on selected 2026 RTP grant recipients. Board members appointed by the state is the next headline. The Missouri Trails Advisory Board consists of members appointed by the Director of the Missouri State Parks, a division of the Missouri Department of Natural Resources. Members are chosen based on their experience with trail use and construction, community involvement, participated in trail user groups, ability to represent other trail users, ability to devote adequate time to the duties and knowledge and experience with the Americans with Disabilities Act. If you'd like more information on Missouri State Parks and Historic Sites, visit MissouriStateParks.com. And in some other exciting news, concert news, Big and Rich will be headlining 9/11 tribute concert in the Ozarks. Great duo. Big and Rich are set to headline a 9/11 tribute concert at Black Oak Amphitheater on Table Rock Lake, according to an announcement. The event is scheduled for September 11th and will honor first responders, military personnel, and others who serve and protect communities. The concert will be featuring performances by not only Big and Rich, Craig Morgan, Andy Ross, and Jacob Smalley will be there. The event is scheduled to blend high-energy performances with moments of reflection, concluding with a fireworks display over the Ozarks. Tickets will be available April 17th, and what follows is a picture of the Black Oak Amphitheater. Tickets for the concert again going on sale April 17th and available exclusively at blackoakamp.com. There will be more. This is going to be more than just a concert. It's a night of unity, remembrance, and appreciation, Tom Abbott, general manager of Black Oak Amphitheater, said in the announcement. We invite everyone to join us in honoring the individuals who protect and serve our communities while enjoying an unforgettable night of live music. The concert is part of the 25th anniversary of 9/11, according to the announcement.
And from the Springfield News-Leader, a Missouri bill would make emergency contraception available to rape survivors. Missouri hospitals and clinics that perform forensic exams following sexual assault are not required by law to offer emergency contraception to survivors, a coverage inconsistency of a bipartisan group of lawmakers is trying to correct with legislation aimed at standardizing care after rape. The proposal, called the Compassionate Assistance for Rape Emergencies Act, would require facilities providing emergency care to sexual assault survivors to offer emergency contraception as well as screening and treatment for sexually transmitted infections. The cost would be covered by the Missouri Department of Public Safety. Supporters say the bill would fix an uneven system in which hospitals that don't offer the medication often leave survivors to navigate travel, pharmacies, and out-of-pocket costs while racing a narrow window in which the medication is most effective. Missouri is a state that is under strain when it comes to access to reproductive health care, said Michelle Trupiano, Executive Director of Beacon Reproductive Health Network. So anything we can do to reduce barriers to make it easier for people to access care we see as a priority. And there's a picture of little Plan B pills on the shelf at a store. In this file photo taken on July 6, 2022, and Plan B, an emergency contraceptive, on the shelf in a drugstore in Annapolis, Maryland. The bill is sponsored by State Reps Jaden Zimmerman, a Democrat from Manchester, and Cecile Williams, a Republican from Dittmer, and is part of a broader bipartisan push to expand access to contraception in Missouri. Emergency contraception, often known as the morning after pill, works by stopping or delaying ovulation. It does not end an existing pregnancy. Providers first administer a pregnancy test. If a patient is already pregnant, the medication is not given. The medication can only be given within 5 days of the assault, and it decreases the efficacy the further from the initial 24-hour mark it's taken. Tanya Vega is the Chief Nursing Executive at Sane Healthcare Services, a Missouri-based nonprofit that provides forensic sexual assault exams for victims across 51 facilities. She has performed more than 600 of these exams over the past decade and said one of the first questions survivors often ask is about emergency contraception. Vega said about 83% of the patients who receive exams through her organization take emergency contraception. The rest either declined, didn't qualify because they were outside the time frame, or were assaulted in a way that wouldn't result in pregnancy. But not every healthcare facility stocks or prescribes the medication, Vega said. Nothing that while the majority of hospitals with religious affiliations in Missouri do prescribe it, the holdouts are adamant that they will not offer the medication. For those who end up at one of the several emergency departments around the state that don't offer emergency contraceptives, the news can be detrimental, Vega told The Independent. This is especially true of adolescents between the ages of 14 and 18, who make up 36% of the patients say-and-sees, Vega said, adding that many survivors don't seek emergency treatment immediately, but rather a few days after the assault, once they're started to process what happened. It's one of the most vulnerable populations anyways that we treat, she said of the young victims. They're still growing, they're still learning, they're working with coping still. Vega recently testified about her experience during a Missouri House Crime and Safety Public Committee hearing on the CARE Act. She said denying emergency contraception to a survivor at their exam and then putting the onus on them to find an open pharmacy and potentially pay for that prescription out of pocket can be a monumental task for someone still processing the trauma of the violent crime they just experienced. That's especially true, she said, if they live in a rural area or have few resources. But some lawmakers raised concerns with the state mandating that a hospital administer a medication even if it goes against the institution's religious beliefs. State Representative Brad Branderman, a Republican from St. Clair, asked during the hearing if hospitals would be able to opt out of this requirement using conscientious objections. No, Vega said. State Representative Brian Seitz, a Republican from Branson, voiced concerns for Catholic hospitals that might morally disagree with contraceptives and asked if patients would be counseled on the medication. Rape is a traumatic event, he said. You're not necessarily going to be in the proper frame of mind to make decisions anyway. When the committee voted on the bill last week, Banderman and Seitz joined Republican state reps Holly Jones of Eureka and Benny Cook of Houston in voting against the bill. All four lawmakers previously voted in support of placing a constitutional amendment on the statewide ballot that would reinstate Missouri's abortion ban, a fact noted by proponents of the CARE Act. If people are anti-abortion, this would be something they should champion because this would prevent abortions from occurring in the first place, Zimmerman said after her bill was voted out of committee. The uncertainty of the fate of abortion access in Missouri makes her efforts to prevent unwanted pregnancies all the more timely. 1 in 20 women in the United States have become pregnant as a result of rape or sexual coercion, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The abortion ban appearing on the statewide ballot this year includes limited exceptions for survivors of rape and incest who end the pregnancy in the first trimester. Abortion is currently legal up until the point of fetal viability in Missouri after voters approved a constitutional amendment overturning a near-total abortion ban in 2024. But pending court decisions around state laws regulating abortion have limited access to the procedure around the state and prevented providers from prescribing medication abortion to patients. Following the hearing, Zimmerman said one colleague who voted in opposition approached her to say they felt sorry for any victims of this violent crime. She didn't give their comment much credence. They're more concerned that someone might have to dispense medication they don't agree with, Zimmerman said, than they are concerned about the health and well-being of a sexual assault victim.
And from the Springfield News-Leader, Missouri Senate revises a bill adding oversight of high school athletics. The Missouri Senate peeled back its plans to establish broad state oversight of the Missouri State High School Activities Association, passing a less expensive bill last Monday that would create a secondary appellate body for the association's athletes. State Senator Jason Bean, a Holcomb Republican and the bill's sponsor, said the legislation he pitched last week, quote, dramatically scales back the previous version in a more positive, productive way. In February, state senators considered a version of the bill that would have created a board that would be in charge of hiring the association's executive director and would act as an intermediary for payments between the association and public schools. And we see a picture of Republican State Senator Jason Bean pictured at his desk. The proposal was spurred by an investigation into one of the association's policies, which established 2 board positions reserved for members of an underrepresented gender or ethnicity. After a white man was deemed ineligible for one of the spots, some state officials decried the policy as discriminatory. Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway is suing the association over the rule, and earlier this month, the U.S. Department of Justice filed a motion to intervene in the case. But this controversy was not Bean's motive for the bill, which he's filed since 2024. He's focused on complaints he's heard about the association's appeals process, in which an internal board hears arguments over in-game decisions and athlete eligibility. Quote, people felt like they were not getting fair treatment, Bean said last week. The legislation approved April 13th would establish a third-party appeals board called Interscholastic Athletic Oversight Commission, with 5 governor-appointed members. Establishing the commission is what we wanted to do all along, Bean said, explaining why he dropped some provisions. Even with the changes, the bill has its critics. State Senator Maggie Nuremberg, a Kansas City Democrat, said she didn't like the legislation but wouldn't try to block it, saying senators, quote, got it to about as good a place as we could on this bill. I wish that we could spend our time working on other issues that are really impacting education today, she said. I don't know if it's the state's plan to create the Interscholastic Athletic Oversight Commission. State Senator Joe Nicola, a Republican from Green Valley, said he didn't like that the new commission would be overseen by the state's education department. Quote, I don't even understand the purpose of this whole thing to begin with, he said. Quote, creating a whole other board and putting it under the Department of Education, I'm just not a fan. The bill now goes to the House for consideration. The House has a similar proposal, which was approved to the committee level, but has not been debated by the full chamber.
From the Springfield News-Leader, how state budget decisions could impact Springfield Public Schools. State leaders in Jefferson City have been putting together a state budget in the face of declining revenues, slow growth forecasts, and diminishing surplus funds. In order to cut back on spending, the current draft budget for next year could bring large cuts in funding for Springfield Public Schools and other school districts in the state. At a legislative update event on Thursday, April 9th, hosted by SPS, the Springfield National Education Association, and Springfield, Missouri State Teachers Association, district leaders shared the uncertainty they are facing in next year's budget, and 3 state representatives provided updates on bills that are moving through the legislative process. The panel included discussions with Reps Betsy Fogel, Stephanie Hine, and Melanie Stinnett. Here are the key takeaways, and then we have a picture of Representative Betsy Fogel, Stephanie Hine, and Melanie Stinnett answering questions at a legislative update event hosted by Springfield Public Schools at Glendale High School on Tuesday, April 9th, 2026. State funding staying flat. While the legislative session still has 5 weeks remaining and budget bills could be subject to change, SPS leaders raised concerns about changes to state funding that would see minimal increases in revenue, while operations remain costly in next school year's budget. The state budget appropriations have been passed by the Missouri House but are still awaiting discussion at the Senate level. Travis Shaw, Deputy Superintendent of Operations, said changes to the Missouri Foundation formula are likely to either keep the amount received flat or reduce it. Historically, the formula has been based on average daily attendance, ADA. This year, it changed to use 90% of weighted average daily attendance, ADA, and 10% weighted average enrollment. Next year, this will change again to be 80% attendance and 20% enrollment. Shaw said this is likely to keep funding flat at roughly $6,900 per ADA, or could decline to about $6,740 per ADA. This change in the formula was included in Senate Bill 727, which was passed in 2024, and it seeks to eventually split calculations evenly between attendance and enrollment. Here we have a picture. Travis Shaw, Deputy of Superintendent of Operations, and Superintendent Granita Lathan share a preliminary information regarding the 2026-27 budget during a legislative update event hosted by Springfield Public Schools at Glendale High School on Thursday, April 9th, 2026. Jason Zamkis, the district lobbyist, said the budget keeping the foundation formula flat means education funding will see a $190 million reduction compared to what the foundation formula would have otherwise required. He added that minimum teacher salary funding and career ladder funding also remains stagnant in the state budget. However, the district will receive slightly above what the basic formula would provide through the 169-day provision. This provision gives all districts who attend school 169 days with an additional 1% of what they received from the basic formula the year prior. This will increase and stay at 2% starting in the 2028 budget year. Allocations from Proposition C, a 1% statewide sales tax that is distributed to school districts, are expected to remain flat going into next year as well. Shaw said the changes to the foundation formula will create more pressure on Proposition C, meaning each district will get a smaller piece of the pie as appropriations from the sales tax remain stagnant. Zamkus said several other bills regarding education, whether pertaining to literacy requirements or technology regulations, could create unfunded mandates and further strain school district budgets. He was hopeful, however, that these bills would not gain traction without subsequent ways to fund requirements placed on school districts. The Springfield School Board will receive information on the next school year's budget in the upcoming months and will be voting on the budget in June. But as district leaders track what's happening at the state capitol, uncertainty looms over what funding the district will receive. State funding makes up roughly 30% of the district's budget. State transportation funds, federal dollars reduced. Governor Mike Kehoe's budget recommendations included reverting state transportation funding for schools back to the previous budget year's levels with an additional 5% or $15.2 million reduction to the funding. Superintendent Granita Lathan said this could be particularly hard on Springfield, which this school year expanded bus eligibility for all elementary, intermediate, and K-8 students who live 1 mile or more from school. Previously, eligibility started at 1.5 miles. Lathan said the change opened transportation up to more than 1,100 additional students. Despite state funding reductions for transportation, she said the district is committed to keeping the promise of helping kids get to school. Last year, the district unveiled a multi-year transportation plan that would expand busing for choice programs and improve access to busing at the middle school level, though those who were noted not add any additional buses, routes, and staff to minimize increased costs, according to previous News-Leader reporting. The district also received some federal dollars. Lathan said SPS is projected to see a 20% cut in federal funding, which primarily funds positions across Title I schools, such as reading specialists, behavior support staff, and support workers. Overall, Lathan suggested the shrinking operating budget could mean hard decisions for the district when it comes to staffing and compensation. When it comes to local revenue, Shaw said with next year being a non-assessment year, the district can expect a 2% growth in the assessed valuation, primarily from new construction and personal property. The senior tax freeze from Senate Bill 190 has made collection rates of property taxes for the district fall from 97% to 95%, he noted. How phasing out income tax could affect schools. Missouri legislators have steadily moved forward with plans to eliminate the state income tax. The current proposal moving through the legislature, which would have to be approved by voters, would task lawmakers with determining what currently untaxed goods and services could be made subject to sales taxes in the future. The bill includes certain triggers for reductions in income tax when the state's revenues grow, so the income tax would not be simply eradicated without any revenue to replace it. However, adding sales taxes on services and transactions that are not currently taxed could also impact those that are already struggling, Fogel said. And there's a picture. Betsy Fogel, Stephanie Hine, and Melanie Stinnett answer questions at a legislative update event hosted by Springfield Public Schools at Glendale High School on Thursday, April 9, 2026. We will have to make up $9 billion worth of economic activity in general revenue and other forms, she said. This will look like an increase in the sales tax. That will look like an increase in the expanding the tax base. Without the income tax, the state's general fund revenues, which fund the foundation formula, would change and shift. In asking a question to the panel, SPS Chief Communication Officer Stephen Hall noted the general fund is also used to fund teacher baseline salary grants, which help districts reach minimum salary requirements. but Senate said the matter would include voter input, and if growth in revenue does not occur, the income tax would remain as is. Blowing an $8 million to $9 million hole in the budget isn't possible in the current version of the bill. There are triggers, she said. It gives us the opportunity as a legislature to look at our tax policy in a complete way and really take a look at how we could change that. And if we don't get that done, again, nothing changes. If the state ever needs to make cuts, Hines said the public education, higher education, and social services are always the first to have funding slashed. They take the brunt of any revenue loss that we have, she said. So when we see, or if we see, these cuts happen, we are going to see implications across our communities, not just in our public schools. Zamkis noted that property tax reform being discussed at the state level could also put a downward pressure on how school districts are able to hold their revenues on a local level.
And here is a look at what's happening in the Ozarks coming up this weekend at the Moore Expo at the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds. They will be hosting vendors from overland camping, adventure motorcycling, and off-road vehicle sectors. This is an action-packed expo offering educational seminars, industry expert interactions, and there will also be quite an impressive display of gear and accessories from over 200 global exhibitors. Again, this is going to be at the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds. There is a $40 cost, and if you'd like more information, just head to moreexpo.com. Tulip and Baby Animal Festival is set for Brighton, Missouri, 4455 West Farm Road 2. And you can celebrate the Tulip and Baby Animal Festival in Brighton, where vibrant fields of tulips meet the sweetest baby farm animals for a great family day out. Fresh air, colorful photo ops, there'll be plenty of cuddly moments await, and you can pick from over 150,000 tulips on the property, and also, of course, check out those cute baby farm animals. Concessions will also be available for purchase. There is an admission cost of $11.95 and $13.95, and again, they've got a Facebook page for more information. 9th Annual Planet Unity Earth Day Celebration, 2214 East Seminole Street. It'll be held from 10 to 5 Saturday. Planet Unity is a vibrant initiative dedicated to raising awareness and promoting sustainable living within the Springfield community. Our mission to foster a deep connection between individuals and the environment, encouraging eco-friendly practices and supporting local artisans and businesses. This actually is a free event. Sounds like they're going to have food, beer and wine, kids activities, bounce houses, interactive Lego display, all kinds of things to check out. Again, it's on East Seminole Street, 10 to 5 on Saturday. And again, they have a Facebook page to check that out. And finally, for another opportunity for car enthusiasts, Rev Up Main Street Harrison Car Show. And this will be held in Harrison, Arkansas from 9 to noon on Saturday only. Classic cars, trucks, and motorcycles will be parked around the courthouse, with all proceeds from the show going to Main Street Harrison and directly back into the downtown. It says they'll have a special small gift for the kids. Bring the family to the show and stick around and grab a coffee or lunch on the square. Your car doesn't have to be perfect. Come to be a part of this with the community. There will also be additional parking available. Again, setup will start at $7.50, and there is a $25 registration fee.
From the Springfield News-Leader, Missouri House okays bill limiting safety net benefits for immigrants. Missouri House Republicans voted Thursday, April 9th to advance a bill prohibiting thousands of legally present immigrants from receiving federal food assistance, restricting what recipients can buy with those benefits, and excluding most refugees and asylees from Medicaid. Much of the measure, sponsored by Republican State Representative Jamie Gregg of Ozark, mirrors federal eligibility changes enacted in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act passed by Congress last summer. Missouri has already implemented the food aid changes, and the Medicaid restrictions are set to take effect October 1st under federal law. The federal law made most refugees, people who have been granted asylum and other humanitarian ingredients, ineligible for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. And there's a picture of State Representative Jamie Gregg speaking in the Missouri House this week. People living in the U.S. without legal status were already ineligible for SNAP and Medicaid benefits. Gregg's bill would also direct the state Social Services Department to request permission from the U.S. Department of Agriculture to ban highly processed or sugary foods from SNAP purchases. The department applied for the federal waiver in October and received federal approval in December. The bill passed the House 95-44 on partisan lines. Gregg told The Independent the bill is designed to align state and federal law and safeguard taxpayer dollars against fraud, which he said is just human nature. The ultimate goal is to make sure that the services are going to be there for those who need it, Gregg said. The bill drew the ire of Democrats, who said it disrespects working class Missourians and could prevent them from accessing benefits for which they qualify. Democratic State Representative Ian McKay of St. Louis said lawmakers shouldn't tell low-income Missourians what to eat by banning certain SNAP food purchases. Mackey recalled living in Boston during Hurricane Sandy in 2012. His local grocery store stayed open when everything else closed. It was staffed by people making $8 an hour, probably at a 32-hour-a-week schedule so their employer didn't have to provide them health care or any other benefits, Mackey said. And then they get nutritional assistance from the government to buy food that they sold me in the middle of a hurricane. These are the folks you want to punish? That's the problem? That's really the problem in our state? When they sell you that birthday cake, Mackey said, they say thank you and let them have theirs too. Republican State Representative Barry Hovis of Cape Girardeau said there are cases of fraud, waste, and abuse in SNAP. When he was a police officer in Cape Girardeau, he said a local convenience store owner was cashing people's SNAP benefits, keeping half and allowing people to use the other half to buy alcohol and cigarettes, stealing $800,000 over several years. I support people that do not have the money to be able to live on for their family and their children, Hovis said. We're not talking about those people. Before closing debate on his bill, Gregg, who said his family used SNAP when he was growing up, said recipients could still have birthday cake. You're telling people they can buy flour, Gregg said. They can buy eggs. They can buy milk. They can buy the chocolate powder that goes in it. They can make cake. The bill would also exclude most refugees and asylees from Medicaid. In order to become eligible for that coverage, they would need to hold a green card for at least 5 years. Democratic State Representative Carrie Engel of Lee's Summit told The Independent and Bill's measures misplaced blame for fraud by targeting recipients of public assistance. Most Medicaid fraud comes from providers. Beneficiaries accounted for only 2.5% of fraud convictions by state Medicaid fraud control units in the fiscal year 2023, according to a report from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. And more than 90% of adults under 65 who are on Medicaid are already working full or part-time or not working because of caretaking responsibilities, illness, disability, or attending school, according to a 2023 KFF study. The vast majority of people on any kind of supplemental services in the state are working at least one, if not two jobs, Engel said. They are paying into the system. They are taxpayers. They are constituents. And they are Missourians, and we should treat them with more respect than that side of the aisle has shown today.
And an animal abuse charge has been added for that man accused of setting a fire that killed 10 counts. The prosecutor's office alleges torture in the death of the cats. What follows is a picture of the Greene County Additional Courts facility on Boonville here in Springfield. A Springfield man accused of setting fire to a shed that killed 10 cats who were inside is now facing an additional felony charge of animal abuse. Aiden Kinney was charged April 10th with second-degree arson in connection with the March 19th fire. On Tuesday, April 14th, the Greene County Prosecutor's Office filed an amended complaint adding one count to the Class C felony of animal abuse against Kinney. The defendant purposely caused injury or suffering to victim one's cats, which was the result of torture consciously inflicted while the animals were alive. The new charging document reads, if convicted, he could face up to 7 years in prison on the arson charge and 4 years in prison on the animal abuse charge. He has a bond hearing set for April 17th, according to online court records. Details of the fire, according to a probable cause statement written by an investigator with the Springfield Fire Department, crews were dispatched just a bit before noon on March 19th to a fire at a shed-detached garage where a woman was living. The statement says the building was a total loss. The victim was not home at the time, but her 10 cats were inside and all died in the fire. A surveillance camera from a nearby residence captured images of the suspect, and the victim quickly identified the suspect as Kinney, according to the statement. Prosecutors say the victim also showed investigator messages Kinney had allegedly sent her that day, quote, taunting the victim and alluding to the fact that he set fire to the building that she was staying in. The statement also says Kinney was arrested April 9th and admitted to starting the fire by placing a Taco Bell box next to the building and lighting it on fire. Kinney allegedly told investigators he'd been using methamphetamine, but knew it was likely the cats were inside when he started the fire. The statement says Kinney, quote, became emotional during the interview and, quote, stated he was remorseful for the death of the cats. In asking that Kinney be held without bond, an assistant Greene County prosecutor wrote that Kinney does not have a criminal history, but, quote, his actions in this case are very concerning, later adding he's a clear danger to the victim in this case. Kinney does not have an attorney listed as representing him. The location of the fire is redacted from publicly available court documents.
And from the Springfield Daily Citizen, MSU students face about 5% increase in tuition fees next year. As part of a year with looming financial challenges, Board of Governors to consider fee increases during Wednesday meeting. And here we see a picture of a bunch of people, students congregating Monday inside Plaster Student Union. As part of a financially challenging year, Missouri State University students will face tuition increases that are a little bit more than the previous year. Undergraduates and graduates, both in-state and out-of-state, will be charged about 5% more in 26-27 than they were for the current year, according to a proposed fee schedule. The Missouri State University Board of Governors Executive Committee will consider approving the fees during a Wednesday, April 15th meeting. According to meeting documentation, fees for undergraduate classes for Missouri students will rise from $302 to $317 per credit hour, and graduate classes increase from $394 to $414. Non-Missouri students' costs rise from $646 to $678 per credit hour for undergraduate classes, and from $786 to $825 for graduate classes. The university will also rework several other fees. Service fees of $836 for 7 or more hours a semester and $416 for 7 hours of online classes will be cut completely. They will be replaced by a common service fee of $70 per hour, capped at $9 for no more than $630. MSU will start charging an application fee of $40 to domestic students. A similar fee of $40 charged to international students will increase to $50. New students and their families will now pay $225 for the university's student orientation, advisement, and registration program. The new fee includes 2 additional family members. The previous fee covered the student's stay but charged $30 for the first family member and $25 for each additional family member. Room and board increases for students who live on campus will be capped at 2.7%. When contacted by the Daily Citizen, Missouri state officials declined to answer questions about the fee increases before the meeting. It is set for 4 p.m. Wednesday online. Financial hurdles ahead. For the last few months, the university has been bracing for reduced income in the face of declining undergraduate enrollment and the expectation of flat funding from the state. The university will also need to make a higher payment into Mosers, a retirement program for state employees. The board is expected to approve its budget for the 2026-27 school year in June. That fiscal year begins July 1st. Compensation for the university's about 3,700 employees is expected to be presented next month. Last year, employees received a $600 salary increase. The about 5% fee increase is higher than similar increases during the previous 2 years, which were around 4%. Over the last 10 years, tuition fees have gone up by an average of 4.3% each year. In February, board members were told that a 3% increase in tuition fees covers only the increased Mosers investment and the lack of state funding increases. Tuition and fees account for about 59% of the university's income, while state funding fills about 38%. Last June, the board approved a budget of $352,382,402 in revenues and $339,171,729 in expenses. The university had to cut $7 million from the budget this year.
Well, this is interesting. A soap refill station installs prototype vending machine at Coffee Ethic. And we see a picture of that vending machine. It says reduce, reuse, recycle on it. Soap Refill Station has installed a prototype vending machine at the Coffee Ethic in downtown Springfield. The vending machine allows customers to refill containers with soap products, said co-owner Ann Desert. The vending machine has options for hand soap, laundry soap, and dish soap. The Coffee Ethic is at 124 Park Central Square, marks the first location for the vending machine concept. Quote, we have a grant to hopefully produce 4 to 5 more to pepper around in surrounding local communities. But ultimately, our goal would be thousands if they work, Desort said via email. She says the Coffee Ethic felt like a good fit with crossover customers, as the companies have partnered together before. The machine will hopefully generate business for us both, but we do give a cut of profits to the Coffee Ethic for hosting the machine, she said. Desort said the partnership with the Coffee Ethic allows Soap Refill Station to be back downtown as well. The company previously operated downtown since being founded in 2018, but moved forward. And in other news, Christian County Sheriff's Office has announced Law Enforcement Training and Academy. And we see a picture of Sheriff Brad Cole. The Christian County Sheriff's Office is partnering with the Missouri Sheriff's Association to offer a 700-hour basic law enforcement academy from August 3rd to early December 2026. Sheriff Brad Cole said the program is going to be a huge benefit to Southwest Missouri, as the only other full-time law enforcement training academy in the region is offered at Drury. This opens up many more options for people. One of the big things about it is cost effectiveness. He added that the program will be about half the cost of Drury's course. It instructs new deputies on a wide variety of skills, from the criminal process to report writing, responding to various scenes, searches and seizures, gun use, and driving. And all the instructors will be Christian County deputies, and classes will be held at the Ozarks Technical Community College, Richwood Valley campus in Ozark. Tuition, $5,500 for the course, or $4,500 for enrollees who are sponsored by a sheriff's office. The sheriff said he wouldn't be surprised if 15 to 20 people enroll in the first. We want to do one academy per year at minimum, Cole said, and the application is available online.
From the Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield area football rivals team up thrive during off-season as members of Southwest 7. 7-on-7 football program has been developing youth talent of all ages since its 2024 inception. And there's a picture of Ozarks student standout Jet Easley hauls in a pass for Southwest 7. Derek Rasmussen and Chris Bodoin planted their roots in Southwest Missouri football, teaming up to help Evangel win a 2005 Heart of America Athletic Conference title. The former Valor quarterback and defensive back have teamed up once again, this time bringing a fresh style of off-season football that is helping develop much of the Springfield area's top talent. Southwest 7, an affiliate of Sooner 7 kickstarted by Rasmussen in Oklahoma, is a 7-on-7 football program that's grown exponentially since its 2024 inception. The organization had just one team in its inaugural year, but has since bloomed into a 12-team conglomerate in just 3 seasons, including 3 18 and under, 2 15U, 3 14U, 2 12U, and 2 10U groups. Bedoin believes that the Springfield area is often overlooked by college scouts and recruiting personnel, so Southwest 7 is another way for college coaches to get a better look at players from the area. Its recent schedule included elite tournaments in Tulsa, Wichita, and Kansas City. Springfield, Missouri has so many hidden gems and so much great talent that no one just knows about, Bedoin said. If you think of the state of Missouri, most people think of Kansas City and St. Louis, and Springfield seems to get passed up quite a bit. Southwest 7's 18U roster includes many well-known names from the area, like Glendale's standout receiving duo of Trevor Heeman and Joel Rover, Republic two-way standout and Power 4 recruit Kieran Govan, Ozark speed setter Jet Easley, and Kickapoo receiver Tevin Christian, and many more. Central Ozark Conference rivals become teammates during the winter and spring months. It makes it even more competitive when it comes to the fall high school season, Herman said. It also helps getting to play with my other teammates at Glendale. My quarterback plays with me, so it's good building that connection with him too. The makeup of the roster has translated to a success as Southwest 7 has brought home 4 7-on-7 championships, an additional pair of championships from a 5-on-5 lineman team that features Willard's 6'8" Brody Lightfoot, who has won 2 MVPs in the 2026 season. And there's a picture of Republic standout in Division 1 recruit Kier Gavon is a member of Southwest 7. Southwest 7's coaching staff included current Missouri State quarterback Cole Feuerbacher, Pitt State receiver Trey Christian, Evangel quarterback Luke Milligan, as well as multiple former college professional players.
Yeah, we're about to have to wrap up, I'm
Okay.
afraid.
Yeah.
It's gone fast. Hey, we would like to thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, Sarah. And hope you'll tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel beginning at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. And remember, we're live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over KSMU subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Be sure and contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. And be sure and join us also here at our thrift store, Wednesdays, 50% off clothing. Thanks.
The time is 12.